above all out, and you don't want to like seem too butt kisserish, or I don't know how to better say that. You're gonna love OT. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Amanda, a third year OT doctoral student, and in today's video we're going to talk about how to get into OT school. So I want to break down this video into two parts, the first part being undergrad and the second part being the application process. But I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed from this. You know, the process takes time, it's nothing to be afraid of, have fun with it. And you know, you're going to be going into something that you love to do, hopefully. So yeah, enjoy the video. If you have any questions or concerns regarding this process after the video, please leave your comment down below. And let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, I'm a third year doctoral student in occupational therapy grad school right now. And it has been a whirlwind. I barely remember the application process. It feels like it was so long ago. But I wrote down a couple of things over here that I want to talk about that I think will be the most helpful for you guys. I don't know. We'll see. So the first part that I want to talk about is the undergrad process. And what this means is, you know, when you're trying to figure out where to get started, if you're like me, I was lost. You know, I was just kind of figuring out what OT was, kind of not really knowing what it was at that point. So I didn't really know where to go, what to do. So that's where I want to start. So basically in undergrad, to prepare for OT grad school, you can do any major that you want to do. I recommend doing something that you enjoy, that you're going to have fun during your classes with, that you're going to get good grades in, that you're not going to struggle too hard with. You know, have fun with it. That's the point of college, is to do something you love. For OT grad school, you really only need to do the prerequisite classes that your program requires. So be sure to research what schools you're looking at, what prerequisites they require. Usually it entails like anatomy, physiology, and then psychology classes. But again, make sure that you look at the school and just do something that you enjoy doing. Like, I have classmates that have majored in business, they've majored in music, and then they have the prerequisites.
Nice.
For me, I majored in exercise science with a minor in psychology. My freshman year, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea where I was going to end up in a career choice. So my first major was psychology, because I just loved learning about how the brain works, how we think, how we interact with everybody. So that's where I started. And then slowly but surely I found my way into exercise science. Me personally, I wanted to have some more experience and background knowledge regarding like anatomy and physiology and the way the body works. So that's why I chose to go down that path. And it is super beneficial, because when you do get into grad school, you take all those classes. So you kind of have that stored in the back of your mind already, and then those classes aren't going to be so overwhelming when you do take them. But that was just me personally. Again, take what you're going to enjoy. Also, another great thing that my undergrad school had, that they offered, was an intro to PT, OT, and athletic training course. And in that class, a PT came in and talked to us, an OT came in, and an athletic trainer came in. And that class actually was kind of a deciding factor, or one of the bigger ones, that I wanted to pursue OT, because I was kind of like going back and forth between PT and OT. And when I heard the OT come in and talk about what she does and what the difference is, it just solidified it for me there. The second thing that you want to do in undergrad is shadow, observe, shadow. You know, even if you're just beginning and not really sure whether you want to do PT or OT, or maybe even speech, go observe in as many settings as you can, like geriatrics, pediatrics, mental health. Get a wide variety of different things, different places, different populations. See what you like, see where you best fit. That will definitely help narrow down maybe where you want to end up and what setting you want to work in the future. And then always keep track of your hours, your observation and shadowing hours. This is going to be super important when you're in the application process, because grad schools like to know how much time you spent actually pursuing this career and making sure that it is what you want to do. And the third thing that you want to do is research your preferred school choices. you know, based on where you live or maybe where you want to live or work in the future, research those different schools, see what the differences are, and especially if you want to look at the differences between a master's program and a doctorate program. Ultimately, do your research and find which school best fits your needs. Is it cost? Is it location? Is it what they offer? Look into it.
Do it! Just do it!
So the way by doing this is go onto their website, go onto the OT program webpage, see what their prerequisites are, what GPA they may require for certain classes, if they require the GRE, what their tuition is. Obviously, doctoral programs are more expensive, and if they have an interview process or not. Okay, the last thing within the undergrad part is work, volunteer, do community service, or play sports, or do something else that shows schools that you are committed, hardworking, and dedicated to something outside of school. And a lot of people always think that you need to work in like a healthcare setting in order to really look good to grad schools, but you don't always have to do that. Many of my mentors from school said that if you have like a year, like 3 years worth of community service or volunteer hours at the same place, that you kept going back to there and that you have a strong relationship with that community, that looks great on an application. So you don't always have to, you know, have all like this knowledge of rehab before you get into grad school. I personally worked at an assisted living facility as a residence aide, so I got to use that to my advantage and say that I really honed in on communication skills with that population. Also, this comes in handy when you need letters of reference. So for me personally, I think you needed like 3 letters of reference. So I had one from a teacher, one from an OT that I did my internship for undergrad with, and then one from my boss at my assisted living facility. Okay, on to the second part of how to get into OT school. And this is after you figure out you want to do OT, you're going through the process, and you're actually applying. You'll get through it. It's fun. Just have fun with it. So the first thing within the application process is to narrow down your school choices and research the needs of each school and organize this information into one place. We kind of talked about this earlier, but really researching the needs of each school, what they require you before you going in there, like finding out whether the application process is through OTICAS, which is like a centralized application system, or if it's just through their website. Again, making sure that you're fulfilling the prerequisites for each school. You know, this school might take that class, might need this one, somewhere else won't take that, they don't need it. My school didn't even require the GRE, and so I took it because some other schools needed it, but I didn't even need it for the school that I ended up going to. The second thing in the application process is working on your personal statements. So with these, you really want to make them personal.
What? Make a personal statement personal? Great advice.
Interesting and fun. You know, make it engaging for the interviewer to read this. And it doesn't always have to be like super OT related. Like obviously the question might be like,
how did you discover this field and why you're interested in it?
And don't say something like super cliche, like
I just love helping people.
Think of something in your life that maybe really called out to you or anything like that. I think in my personal statement I talked about like how I grew up with 2 older brothers playing sports, and they really taught me like how to get back up again. I don't even remember. It was something random like that, but something that was personal to me that helped me become the person that I am today. Alright, last but not least, the final thing in the application process is saying yes to interviews and preparing beforehand for these interviews. Interviews at grad schools are a huge game changer. If you choose to go to them, if you're accepted to go to them, they make a huge difference in your application process. Obviously, if you're selected or asked to come for an interview, that means that you're one of their higher choices. So even going to the interview and partaking in it just shows at that school that you are interested in it, and it's gonna just be super helpful in getting into that program. So with interviews, make sure you prepare beforehand. Just search basic common interview questions online. 2 questions that I noticed that OT schools like to ask in interviews. were specific moments in your life that stuck out in relation to pursuing OT as a career. Another one is a challenging thing that you overcame in your life and how you did that, how it developed you as a person. And then if you're doing a doctorate program like I did, be prepared to answer questions regarding leadership. Just that's like a kind of like a big principle of being in a doctorate program, is kind of taking on the more leadership roles, whether that's like research, academia, or just being in a larger leadership role in general. So be prepared to kind of answer what in your life shaped you to be a leader. For me, I played Division I hockey in college, so being an older individual on the team as I grew up kind of molded me into more of a leadership role to kind of help with the younger girls and mentor them on the team. I think that was kind of like what my answer was. So just find something in your life that you're passionate about and that you find yourself being a leader in. Another thing that's super important with interviews, research the schools and the professors that you're going to do the interview at. You want to be prepared with information regarding the school, about the program, about what they require, their coursework, just so you actually have honest and good questions to ask when you're done being interviewed, because they love having you ask them questions as well. Which brings me into my next thought. Also research the professors. What have they done? What are they experts in? Because even at the end of your interview, when you're being asked all the questions, you can ask them something fun about like what they've done, and you don't want to like seem too butt kisserish, or I don't know how to better say that. But it just shows that you put in that extra work, that you are really passionate about going to that school, and it's just going to add those extra brownie points. And above all else, on your interview, just take the time to answer your questions honestly, truthfully, and passionately. They don't mind if you just say like, hold on, can I just have a second to kind of get my thoughts together to answer this question? Totally okay with that. They want to hear your best answer to that question. So take your time, have fun. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys found it helpful. As always, comment down below if you have any other questions, and then don't be afraid to reach out on other resources that OT students have to offer, or OT practitioners too. There's plenty of Facebook groups. There's a big one called like OT students or something that I'm a part of, that there's a bunch of undergraduate students that ask helpful things all the time, like advice on the application process as well. So don't be afraid to reach out in there. Good luck, have fun, and you're gonna love OT. Bye!
And like this video if you found it helpful. Thumbs up!